Did you know that in Latin America there are places where people carry amulets in their pockets, perform rituals before traveling, burn dolls to ward off bad luck, and treat all of this as if it were a normal part of everyday life? What if I told you that within this same Latin world there are countries where it rains fish, prisons that function as neighborhoods, and markets that sell mummies to protect new homes? Would you believe me? Well, it's true. Latin America is vast, diverse, and full of peculiarities that change completely from one border to another. So today, Bello Mundo will take you through 10 Latin American countries to learn about some curiosities that seem unbelievable but are part of real life there. Number 1. Brazil. Not long ago, a simple song reignited an old discussion. During a performance on a Brazilian TV show, singer Shakira included Brazilians when she sang about Latin peoples, and immediately the internet went into a frenzy. Many Brazilians applauded, many Brazilians disagreed, and on social media, the question that has divided opinions for years arose. Is Brazil really a Latin country? The question is common, mainly because of the language. While most of Latin America speaks Spanish, Brazil speaks Portuguese. However, the term Latin was coined in the 19th century, not to define Spanish speakers, but to group together the countries of the Americas that were colonized by peoples of Latin origin, such as Portugal, Spain, and France. In other words, it is a label based on cultural roots, not on language alone. And if there is one country where cultural roots are multiple, it is Brazil. It is considered one of the most ethnically diverse countries on the planet. It has descendants of indigenous peoples, Europeans, Africans, Asians, and Arabs. And in some places, this mix is even visible in the landscape. Pomerode, a city in the state of Santa Catarina in southern Brazil, has a strong German influence. Três Tílias, also in Santa Catarina, was founded by Austrian immigrants and preserves traces of Tyrolean architecture. Alhambra, located in the interior of the state of São Paulo in the southeast, maintains traditions inherited from Dutch culture. Even so, Brazil has created its own customs, which surprise those who arrive from abroad. Bathing is not just a daily activity. Some people bathe twice or even 3 times a day, as if it were part of their basic routine. Strangers are naturally called uncle or aunt, even without any family ties. And the barbecue is no longer just food. It has become a gathering, a Sunday tradition, an identity. Perhaps Brazil questions its own Latin identity so much because it has never fit into a single definition. But when we look at it from the outside with a little distance, the fit is there. In the language, in the history, in the heritage, in the mix, in the way of life. But you only have to cross the border to realize that, in Latin America, everyone has something equally unexpected. Number 2. Mexico. In Mexico, the first thing that catches your attention is the flavor. Almost everything comes with corn, and almost everything has chili peppers. These are 2 ingredients that are not there just for taste. They tell a story. Corn, for example, is the pillar of Mexican cuisine. But it is also sacred. In Mayan mythology, the gods tried to create human beings with clay, then with wood, and failed. It was only when they used corn dough that they were able to bring them to life. That is why the grain appears in rituals of thanksgiving and protection, as well as being present in everyday dishes, from tortillas to tamales. Chili peppers, on the other hand, are a symbol of identity. The country has more than 140 varieties. Spicy sauces accompany breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There are mild peppers, and there are peppers that seem like punishment, and Mexicans can't do without them. But what most strikes visitors to Mexico is how the country deals with death. While in many countries mourning is silent, there it becomes a celebration. On Dia de Muertos, which takes place between the end of October and the beginning of November, cemeteries are filled with families who bring flowers, candles, and even food to the graves. Many people set up altars at home with photos, offerings, and objects that belong to the dead. It is a way of remembering them fondly, as if no one had really left. But while Mexico celebrates death, there are those who communicate with spirits in a different way. Number 3. Haiti. Haiti is almost always remembered for its difficulties. But if there is one thing that marks Haiti, it is voodoo. And it has nothing to do with dolls stuck with pins or spells from horror movies. Haitian voodoo is a complex religion formed from African traditions brought by enslaved peoples, mixed with Catholicism and indigenous elements. The result is a spiritual system centered on community, protection, and relationship with ancestors. In voodoo, spirits are called loas. Each has its own personality, functions, and preferences. There are loas linked to healing, justice, love, war, and nature. The rituals are conducted by houngans and mambos, priests and priestesses, who lead ceremonies with drums, songs, and dances. And surprisingly, this influence is so profound that it has even reached the government. During the 20th century, dictator François Duvalier, Papa Doc, used voodoo as a tool of power. He presented himself as the reincarnation of Baron Samedi, a loa associated with death, and imitated the entity's appearance to cultivate fear. He also ordered the elimination of black dogs because he believed that a political rival had transformed into one. He even claimed to have performed a ritual to end the life of President John Kennedy. Number 4. Honduras. Continuing our journey, we now arrive in Honduras, a country in Central America that, believe it or not, has a little bit of everything. It has a Caribbean coastline with blue waters and Garifuna communities that maintain rhythms inherited from Africans and indigenous peoples. It has mountain villages in the interior, narrow roads, and the smell of hot corn coming from freshly made tortillas. And it has a cuisine that mixes coconut, green banana, and seafood in a way that only those who have been there can understand. It is a discreet country that hardly ever makes the headlines, but it has customs and stories that many people are unaware of. And if there is one curiosity that surprises even those who live in the region, it is something that happens in the city of Yoro, in the north of the country. There, a phenomenon called lluvia de peces, or rain of fish, occurs. Residents say that between May and July, the weather closes in, the wind changes, and a strong storm suddenly hits. When the rain passes, the streets are full of live fish scattered on the ground. The explanation for this depends on who you ask. Some say it is a miracle performed by a priest who lived in the region in the 19th century. Others believe that the storms are so strong that they pull fish from shallow rivers and drop them miles away. Each defends their version, and no one can agree on anything. What exists are reports accumulated over decades, and residents who already wait for the phenomenon to collect fresh fish and sell it after the storm. Number 5. Colombia. Now it's Colombia's turn, a country that many people think they know because of the news involving Pablo Escobar's legacy, but which in practice is much more complex than it seems. It has a little bit of everything. A coastal region with a Caribbean accent, the Amazon rainforest with isolated communities, cold mountain ranges in the middle of the country, and large cities in the Andes operating at a different pace. There is so much variation that it seems as if Colombia is home to several countries in one. This diversity is also evident in customs. At New Year's Eve, for example, superstitions take over. Some people eat 12 grapes at midnight, one for each month. Others go out with an empty suitcase in the hope of attracting travel opportunities. And in several cities, a doll called Año Viejo is burned as a symbolic way of leaving problems in the past. Another curiosity is in the cup. Everyone knows that Colombia is passionate about coffee, as are Brazil and countries such as Portugal and Italy. The difference is that in Colombia, this habit starts early. While in many places caffeine is not even recommended for younger children, there it is common to see little ones drinking the famous tintico, a very weak, sweetened coffee, often mixed with milk before even going to school. Oh, and there's another curiosity that makes a lot of people happy: the holidays. Colombia is among the countries with the most holidays in the world, with 18 dates throughout the year, and in many cases there is a system that moves the celebration to Monday to increase the chances of a long weekend and make life easier for those who work. Now we leave Colombia behind and go down the map to a small, bilingual country full of unexpected habits. Number 6. Paraguay. Paraguay is located in the middle of South America, landlocked between Brazil, Argentina, and Bolivia. The capital is Asunción, a city on the banks of the Paraguay River, which organizes much of the country's political and economic life. One of the most curious things is the language. Spanish is the official language, but Guarani, the indigenous language of the Guarani people, is also official, and it is not restricted to documents or laws. Much of the population speaks Guarani on a daily basis, at home, in shops, on the street, and even politicians give speeches in Guarani. This spontaneous mixture has given rise to Jopara, a way of speaking that combines the two languages in the same sentence. Impressive, isn't it? Number 7. Bolivia. Still in South America, our destination now is Bolivia, a landlocked country, but with an impressive number of curiosities. Much of the territory is located in high-altitude regions, and the administrative capital, La Paz, is nestled in a valley surrounded by mountains. There, in the city center, there is a prison that looks more like a neighborhood surrounded by walls. It is the San Pedro prison. From the outside, no one would imagine that it is a prison. Inside, it functions like a parallel city. The guards are only at the entrance. The prisoners themselves are in charge of the organization inside. They elect representatives, set rules, rent cells, and even keep small businesses running. Those who have money can get a comfortable cell with a double bed, television, and even a private bathroom. Those who don't sleep in the corridors until they find a way to work and pay for a space. Even more impressive is that many families live inside with the prisoners. Women and children come and go every day. But that's not the only surprise in Bolivia. La Paz is also home to the Witches' Market, a place full of stalls selling amulets, colored powders, statuettes of naked couples, herbs, and objects used in ancient rituals. There are also the famous mummified llama fetuses, which are offered to the Andean goddess Pachamama as a way of asking for protection and prosperity when building a house. And just for the record, they don't come from slaughterhouses, okay? But from natural abortions. Another element that appears everywhere is the coca leaf. Contrary to what many people think, and that in most places is associated with illegal things, here it is used to withstand the cold, the altitude, and as a symbol of respect in traditional ceremonies. Number 8. Chile. Chile is the kind of country that looks simple on the map, but once you get close, you see that it is anything but ordinary. From above, it looks like a thin strip of land stuck to the left side of South America, but it is a strip over 4,000 kilometers long, squeezed between the Pacific Ocean and the Andes Mountains. And it is precisely because it is so narrow and so long that it is home to virtually every possible climate. In the north, the country begins with one of the driest places on the planet. the Atacama Desert. There are regions there where it hasn't rained for thousands of years. The setting is so surreal that it has become a NASA test site to simulate the conditions on Mars. And if that already sounds like fiction, wait until you hear that Chile has an official agency dedicated to investigating sightings of flying objects. And no, it's not a joke, it's the CEFAA, Committee for the Study of Anomalous Aerial Phenomena. While in many countries the subject is treated as the ravings of theorists, there it is taken seriously, with reports, technical analysis, and everything. Moving down the map, the landscape changes. The valleys, wineries, lakes, and Patagonia begin. And in the far south, Chile decided to go head-to-head with Argentina and created the city of Puerto Williams, just to take the title of city at the end of the world, away from Ushuaia. In everyday life, the quirks are also surprising. Drinking beer on the street? No way. Walking around shirtless, even on the beach? You could get fined. And if you want to drink in a bar, you have to order food with it. Now, those who prefer coffee may come across cafés con piernas, coffee with legs, where the drink is served by waitresses wearing tight clothes or almost no clothes, high heels, and a somewhat theatrical air that mixes sensuality with conservatism. That's Chile for you, a country that defies expectations at every turn. Number 9. Peru. Still in the western part of South America, our destination now is Peru, because, like Colombia, it is not a country of just one curiosity. In fact, you could make several videos just with the stories, foods, and traditions that appear there. In the Andean regions, mountains are not just part of the landscape. Many people see the Great Peaks as protective spirits. The Apos. Respect for Pachamama, Mother Earth, appears in small offerings left at high points with coca leaves, drinks, and food as a way of giving thanks and asking for balance in life. At the table, Peru attracts attention from around the world. The country became famous for ceviche, made with raw fish marinated in lemon juice, but the menu goes far beyond that. A curiosity that surprises many outsiders is the consumption of cuy whole roasted guinea pig, served on special occasions in several cities in the Andean interior. For those who grew up seeing the animal as a pet, it is often a shock. The ingredients also tell a story. The potato originated in the Andean region, and in Peru alone there are more than 3,000 varieties. There are white, purple, red, almost black, and even bluish potatoes. Corn follows the same pattern, with dozens of different types in colors ranging from white to dark purple, used in savory dishes and traditional drinks. In the Nazca Desert, in the south of the country, there are famous lines that form giant figures on the ground. They are drawings of animals, geometric shapes, and symbols that only make sense when viewed from above. Theories range from an astronomical calendar to religious rituals, and the mystery remains unresolved. In the mountains near Cusco, Christmas takes on a different face with Takanakui. Men and women gather in a kind of arena to resolve fights, grudges, and disagreements through fighting, with music, dancing, and well-defined rules. Yes, it seems strange, but it seems that fighting on Christmas Day works. Number 10. Argentina. And last but not least, we end this journey through Latin America with a country that needs no introduction. Argentina is known for many things. It has its historic rivalry with Brazil, tango, dulce de leche, charcoal-flavored barbecue, Messi, the Malvinas, and the good old Buenos Aires accent. One of the first things that catches your attention is the meal times. While in many places dinner takes place in the early evening, in Argentina it is normal for people to sit down at the table after 9, sometimes after 10. A restaurant full at midnight is not an exception. It is routine. Families with small children at a restaurant table at this time of night are also nothing out of the ordinary. Another curiosity of everyday life in Argentina is the habit of going to therapy. That's right, talking about therapy at the bar, at home, at work, or with friends is not at all unusual. Quite the contrary. In Argentina, going to therapy is so common that Buenos Aires has been called the therapy capital of the world. In certain neighborhoods, there are more therapists' offices than bakeries. Of course, access is not the same for everyone, but the fact is that mental health is not taboo there. It is almost a basic item for survival, and if we stop to think about it, it makes perfect sense. In today's world, taking care of your mental health should be on the same list as sleeping well, eating right, and exercising. It's a way to face life with more balance without having to pretend that everything is fine all the time. And now we want to know from you. Which of these curiosities surprised you the most? Tell us here in the comments. And if you liked the video, leave a like, subscribe to the Bello Mundo channel, activate the bell, and share it with those who love to travel without leaving the couch. If you want to give us some extra support, use the hyper function. That way, you help the channel continue to bring you stories that almost never appear in tourist itineraries. Thank you for staying with us until the end. See you on our next adventures.